For over 20 years, Ugandans in the north were victims of one of the most brutal civil wars in the history of Africa. The conflict caused thousands of deaths, the displacement of approximately 1.1 million people, and the abduction of more than 23,000 children. At the height of the war, from 2002 to 2005, hundreds of thousands lived in desperate conditions in displacement camps throughout the region. In 2006, a ceasefire was negotiated, but it took another 4 years before the last of the camps were officially closed and the majority of the internally displaced returned to their villages. During the conflict, UN agencies and the international community delivered much-needed humanitarian assistance. But now the UN, in partnership with the government of Uganda, is working together in another capacity to ensure economic and social recovery.
The UN's work has really moved from a humanitarian response scenario into one of recovery and rapidly moving into development, where we've moved from reacting to events such as a large number of IDPs moving back without us being fully prepared for it, to one where we're now able to look forward and program our assistance towards the development of northern Uganda.
A conflict of this magnitude, there is no one agency that they can support building back together, except that we all come together and UN is taking the lead into this.
Therefore, in northern Uganda, UN agencies are joining together to deliver as one. The UN Delivering as One initiative was launched in 2007 to respond to the complex challenges of today's world. The purpose is to harmonize developmental assistance so that it is delivered in a more effective and sustainable way.
Delivering as one means coming together, having one program, one fund, one leader.
As one UN, we can pool resources and put in the facilities that are required, for instance, the health unit, the water, the schools, name it, that are really necessary for these people who are returning into their original villages.
One cannot work without the other, so the synergies that are created by the UN working together is quite important.
A mechanism introduced in this recovering region that enables the UN to deliver as one is the UN Peacebuilding Fund.
Yeah, the UN Peacebuilding Fund has three big components to it. There's one which is trying to bring access to justice and human rights to the people of northern Uganda. Another one is really trying to deal with the social consequences of the conflict, such as gender-based violence. And the third one is looking at livelihoods and economic recovery. And we have 8 agencies that are all going to pull in behind this. They're funded through a single fund, which will help them pull together and deliver on those 3 main areas in support of peace-building objectives.
So, let's have a look at those 3 main areas and how they work together to enable the UN to deliver as one. Justice systems were non-functional at the end of the conflict. This is now changing.
Well, under the law and justice system sector, OHCHR, in collaboration with UNHCR and UNFPA, is basically looking at justice-related issues. And OHCHR is focusing specifically on access to justice, and this we do in collaboration with the Uganda Human Rights Commission as well as a national partner, through training for the police, training for civil society, so that they're able to demand accountability, in particular where rights of normal citizens are affected.
Women and girls suffered acts of physical and sexual violence at an alarming rate during the conflict. Sadly, this violence continues.
In the north, we're seeing very high reported rates of sexual and gender-based violence. The large majority of cases are cases of rape, particularly of young girls below the age of 18. Also, physical abuse and sexual abuse are highly reported to our partners.
By improving access to justice systems and providing educational services, the UN is creating an environment where perpetrators of violence can no longer act with impunity.
So UN partners including UNFPA, UNICEF, UN Women, and FAO have come together to create a joint program that's working with each partner's strengths. Essentially, the program is working to ensure that women and children, particularly in the communities, are receiving information about services, access to services. So if, unfortunately, they are the victims of sexual and gender-based violence, they're aware of where they can report.
Agriculture was a key economic driver for the North, which was formerly known as the breadbasket of Uganda. The UN is now working to maximize on the recent good harvests and is training farmers in pre- and post-harvest skills.
We are looking more at the production aspect. We have WFP coming in with post-harvest and marketing, and also UNDP coming in to support with the storage facilities, and that's where we have the bulking, so that these groups are empowered, they're able to access various market outputs, and in the end they're able to increase their income and improve on their livelihoods.
FAO also works in partnership with its sister agency WFP, ensuring farmers receive the maximum benefits for the grain they provide.
So WFP's activities integrate particularly with the ones of our sister agency FAO, because we work with the same farmer groups and provide different parts of the trainings. So whereas FAO focuses more on the production, WFP comes in at a later stage, focusing on the post-harvest.
Whilst the conflict in the north was raging, another battle was being fought throughout the entire nation. It was the war against HIV and AIDS. Since the onset of this devastating disease, over 1 million people have lost their lives. Approximately 1.1 million children have been orphaned by HIV and AIDS. Currently, 1.2 million Ugandans are living with the disease.
It's one of those crises that the country has, that even today, despite all the success stories of Uganda, still we have new infection up to 124,000, a year, in 2009 in particular.
UN agencies have been working together to not only stem the advance of the virus, but to educate and inform the population to keep the infection rate down.
We got a lot of important things from this center here. Most of us youths were not knowing how to use the condom, but we came here, they demonstrate for us how to use the condom. That is why nowadays we are using condom in the correct way.
In today's post-conflict environment, the social and economic outlook for Uganda is positive, and by delivering as one, the UN is playing its part in this transformation.
And the more we can work together, the more beneficial it will be for the government, not only on the financial side, but the UN brings a wealth of international expertise and capacity building also that the country can benefit from.